Yeah. Good evening instead of morning. Good evening. I have a special treat for you. A treat, annoyance, whatever, however you want to look at it, right? Let's see. About ready to have your evening tea. No, so I was gonna go. I tried going live this morning, and Jeff went live the same exact time, and so I just let him have the spot, and um and that's all trucking business, but tonight's show is not about trucking business. It's about health, so that means half the people will leave probably, but no, it's all right. I mean, we could talk trucking stuff, but I don't know what else you want to talk about. I mean, that we don't talk about. It's pointless to look at a low board right now, but I kind of want to. So what I wanted to do is, because of the StreamYard, because I have that ability, I want to play one of my old videos. I was talking to Pale Rider the other day, and we were trying to figure out how you can play your own videos, because StreamYard doesn't like you to do that off of YouTube, right? And for a good reason. StreamYard won't let you like share a screen and play a YouTube video. It's choppy, the audio doesn't work, and it's just not a good. It's difficult. I know people that can, but you need equipment that's beyond what I have. But then what I discovered was, even the videos I've done with my phone, once they're uploaded to YouTube, the file, then I can download the file from my own channel. And so I thought, I'm going to do a reaction video to one of my old videos, and we'll have a discussion about it. So we'll get some more people in here, and 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 we'll go over it. It's not about the numbers tonight. Usually my night videos don't do well. I was talking to Adam DIY Semi about this earlier. We were talking about YouTube algorithms and everything, and I told him that there's only like one of my night videos where I had like 150 people. I think I had Asia Mai was in there, SoCal. I think Will Burner had stepped in there. I think Jeffrey Legg was in there at one point. I had 150 people that evening, and that was a fluke. And we were all talking about trucking stuff, and this is trucking related. Don't get me wrong, but at the same time, it's about probably the most important thing. Whether you're company owner op, doesn't matter. It's about taking care of yourself, and how I made steps to make some moves, right? To improve things. So it's evening, so there's a lot of activity going on behind me. So hopefully that won't be too distracting. And let me fix this here, and let's see what's going on here. We'll fix this. I don't need to do the endorsement thing since I'm not endorsing anything tonight. Here, we'll do the subscriber thing. There you go. So, anyways, we'll get some people in here, and we'll do some shout outs, and then we'll get on with the video. So, um, those of you who new to the channel, let me show you something. Hold on. I got to text this to myself, and I'll show you guys something. Bear with me here, and I apologize. There we go. And I know I have a lot of new subscribers, thanks to the Landstar video. And yeah, we don't talk just trucking. We talk about health. We talk about music, and and I want to point out something. So those of you, I know there's some new people in here that have not been watching me for the last, but just a year or two, and so I kind of want to do this here. I'm going to get kind of, I don't know if you call it preachy or not, but we'll see. But let me get my email up here, and then this is kind of the backstory. So let's minimize that. I'll open that up. So I want to show you guys something. Speaking of Landstar, this is kind of Landstar related. Boom. Look at that. Look at that dude. All right, this was probably me around my heaviest. Right, and I was beardless. Look, everybody's talking about beardless people. There you go, no beard. And this was me at my lightest after the weight loss. So I just kind of, so if you're new to my channel, this is something that I dealt with, right? And I remember this was at the Joplin Truck Show. Notice I'm wearing my Landstar hat. So it was about 6 years ago, 7 years ago. And because I've been an owner operator for 8 years, and I started in 2014, and I was at Landstar, so I was still at Landstar at this point. I hadn't moved to Schneider yet, and so that's what this is, right? So I just kind of want to put that out there, right? So yeah, the beard got longer too. That's what, I guess I've been growing this beard for quite a while. I want to say I shaved it off while I was at Schneider still, so I think the beard's only about 4 years old. But yeah, I was with George and Wendy, which I think they're divorced now. That's George. That's his. He had a Coronado. They were Landstar and Oida people. They were all about Landstar and Oida, and that's how I knew them. Tex Crowley, I believe, is also in this shop, but I didn't show him on this. But anyways, so this is my backstory, right? So what I want to do is I want to play the video that started it all. And I uploaded a video to my YouTube, and what prompted that was I was sick of being that guy in that picture. I was sick of that, and so I thought this will be a good trick. Now, after this video is done, after this live feed is done, I'm going to put this on members only. So yeah, Cassius King says, "What's up, bro? 388 was my heaviest. That's crazy." Yeah, I mean, look, I mean, it's. I'm going to put this back up on the screen here. Now I've been very blessed because I did not have. Obviously I'm insulin resistant. I mean, that's what that is, right? I've obviously, but my blood pressure's always been good. You look at my legs. I mean, I definitely had the edema going, and it just and truck shows and going out to the amusement park with the family was just utter torture. Just my knees would, just the swelling and the knees and the inflammation and the depression. I mean, that's a depressed dude. That's a depressed dude that wasn't doing his numbers, wasn't running his business correctly, was guilty about being on the road, didn't know what the hell he was doing, and and blame the whole weight gain to just being inactive, right? So, but anyways, let's do some shout outs and then we'll get to the video. So Tennessee Trucking, good evening. I almost say good morning. It's such habit. Fate Trucking says boom. Sterling says what? Rockin' Van Life, Shadow Wolf, hey Snorelord, good evening. My name is Nobody, good evening. Wheelburner says good morning, trying to throw me off there. We're watching the Warriors. Then Snorelord comes out to play Warriors. So CB from Colorado. There you go. Oh, wait, it's not morning. Good afternoon. There you go. Nothing like a morning coffee at late night. Pale Rider would agree with you there. Rat, lay it down. What's up? Hairless Metalheads unite. About to have some evening tea with my Snorelord. There you go. The only reason why I'm watching is to look at Snorelord's glorious beard. There you go. You now have beard envy. I hate treats. Bah humbug. Don't sweat it. Replay gang will always be around unless they aren't, right? Cool Truckin' says, Steve, my son wants to play guitar with you one of these days. That would be pretty cool. I don't see myself going to Idaho anytime soon, but we can try to make that work. TK says, hey, now let's talk about healthy music. There you go. Iron Maiden, right? Man, there's a lot of beardless folks hanging out around here. Cassius King says, "What's up, bro? 388 was my heaviest. That was crazy." I want to say I flirted with 390, but at that time, I do know that I was at 388. Right? Trucking is very unhealthy and detrimental to your health. That's a fact. I know. Do what you can to stay healthy and get out of that truck. Move around. All right. And SST, what's up? So let's remove this and let's get the video up here. So let me do this. And so what I want to do, I want to do a live reaction video, because reaction videos, YouTube loves reaction videos. And I've also did a second video called The Struggle is Real Part 2. We'll see how this is going. It's about falling off the wagon. And let me pause this here. All right. So that might be loud. So please forgive me if it's louder than my regular voice. I might be able to adjust the volume. Actually, I can. So let's do this. So anyways, this is, what was the date of this video? Let me look. We got to get the date of this video. So let me look on the channel here. And then your channel. Search Struggle is Real. Snorelord. Struggle. Four years ago. So I made this video 4 years ago. I was at those of you who ever delivered Walmart in Clarksville, Arkansas, you know that truck stop, that old mom and pop, old school truck stop that's right there, a rock's throw from that's where I was at. It took like an hour for the video, for this 5-minute video to render, because I barely had a signal, but I was having some moments of clarity. I was just off the phone. I just was talking to the wife on the phone. I was depressed. I was upset. I was mad at myself. I was mad at the situation, because there's a lot of things going on with our food, and a lot of things that we as truck drivers are, have to rely on for food that are just wrong. And so we'll get into that. But first I want to play this video, and I want to do a reaction video to this. Let me do one more. TJ Bowler Woods, what's up? I find that wearing Hawaiian shirts is an effective way to look less bellylicious. Less bellylicious is weight loss, right? On the live stream someday. Yeah, that'd be great. We can probably arrange that, if we can do something. So, all right. So here we go. We're going to play this. I'm going to pause it here and there, and I'm going to give you my thoughts, because I watched a little bit of this earlier, but I thought, well, how can I do a reaction video if I'm already watching it, right? So here we go. This is at the Clarksville truck stop in Clarksville, Arkansas, exit 55, I-40, a place that I've spent many, 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 many nights. Excellent truck stop. They charge $10 to park now. But if you're delivering that Walmart there, that Walmart DC there, it's a good one. So here we go. Sitting here in Clarksville, Arkansas. I'm at Lazy Larry's, old school truck stop, waiting for my delivery time. Now, obviously, I'm not using a selfie stick. I didn't have one at this point. The selfie stick I do like to use, Ratman Roden gave me later on, I think later this same year. But yeah, so I apologize for the shaky, potato thing going on. Those of you who know where I'm at, you know where I'm going. I'm sitting here contemplating a lot of discussions I've had lately about health. Those of you going to the truck show, you're going to see how unhealthy we all are. All right, so a lot of pause, a lot of quiet moments. I'm not trying to fill your screen up with a bunch of, I'm not yelling at you. I was feeling in deep thought, and this is right before the Dallas Truck Show. So, and importantly, I said we, right? Because I recognize that I have issues, right? We all are. There's my scene right there. What do you think? Oh man, I'm sick of being heavy. I'm sick of feeling like crap. I'm sick of the comments, sick of the people staring, sick of the food choices that we sometimes have to make. I'm sick of the fact that, you know, sometimes we are our own worst enemy. We all struggle with something, some kind of vice, whether it be drugs, alcohol, food, bad decisions, wrong spouse. I'm pretty blessed, man. I've never had a drug addiction, never had an alcohol addiction, and I've got a beautiful, loving wife. Will Burner says, I can almost hear sadness in your voice while you're talking in the video. There was. This is the unhappy, close to 400-pound me. And I was sick of being sick and tired. So, but yeah, you're absolutely right. Good observation there, beardless one. But I struggle with food. Now, I've been doing better. I've lost 30 pounds since January, but... Okay, so I don't remember what the original trigger was to lose the weight. So apparently January I was at that 390, 388, and I'd already lost 30 pounds, but it was still such a struggle. And I hadn't made the connection yet of the low carb thing. I think I was doing better, but I was not like 100%. I wasn't very dogmatic about it. So, sometimes you feel like you're creeping back up. Yeah, that was it. Because I would do these 20, 25 pound. I get some momentum, then I'd plateau, and then I'd just gain it all back. I was a yo-yo. So, make small changes. Like here, unsweetened tea. I don't drink sweet tea anymore. My body does not react well to sugar. And to be honest with you, the reason why I don't go out and buy a brand new truck is I don't know if I'll live long enough to see the end of the payments. Now, at that time, I was struggling. My truck's approaching 8 years old. Of course, it was only 4 years old at this point. And every 4 or 5 years, you want to trade that truck in. That's kind of the business model. And, whether you agree with that or not doesn't matter. That's not the point here. One of the biggest fears was that any truck note that I would get at that time or at any point would be 5 or 6 years, right? 5 or 6 year note. And I didn't think I was going to make it. I honestly didn't think I was going to live another 5 or 6 years without some major health crisis. So imagine, I go out and pay, at that time, the new trucks were 180 grand for the Primo stuff, 160, 170, for something basic. And imagine like being 2 years into that payment and my legs are purple and I can't afford, I lose my CDL. That's a reality that a lot of drivers face every single day. So there you go. So let me push play here. I've talked about health in my channel a couple of times. Never really went serious with it though, because I know I'm struggling myself, right? We are an unhealthy bunch, us truck drivers. It's Time to do something about it. Time for me to do something about it. So, WCF Invader, what's up? So this was me thinking, you know what? I have this YouTube channel, and it seems like we all have these YouTubers that we watch, and they end up like going completely opposite of what they've talked about. In other words, you got guys that sit there and they tell you to know your numbers, and then they go out of business. And you come to find out they didn't really know their numbers. Or you have these guys that go to companies and become recruiters for them. Oh, go to this company, you get this, and this, and then 3 months later they leave and say, "Oh, that company was bad. That was horrible. Don't go there." So I thought, you know what? A lot of people recognize that I don't play in that space. And so if I thought one of the extra motivators that I could have was to hold myself accountable, because I like doing this YouTube thing. So if I put it out on YouTube, then I'm trying to lose weight, then I'm trying to become healthier. It would be like, if I, like, a month from now, if I go back to my old ways, it would be noticeable. And then I'd become a hypocrite. And then next thing you know, live feeds would be me. People like, "Oh, Steve, what happened to that weight loss?" Because there's other YouTubers that have done weight loss things, and then next thing you know, they're drinking, a soda and eating donuts and doing food challenges, and then you wonder what happened. And you realize that a lot of their weight loss journeys were just for clicks, just for views. They really didn't believe what they were saying. So I was trying to hold myself accountable to be inspirational as a truck driver. Because really at that time, everybody's mindset was, "Oh, I got to get off the road before I can lose weight." And I wanted to prove that wrong. These are just my thoughts out loud, making it real. We all struggle. Getting better at this owner operator thing. I'm getting better at this truck driver thing. Now it's time to work on myself. Because what good's all this money? What good is finding the best rates or the best lanes or maximizing your home time and money? What good is all that if you can't enjoy it? What good is that if 2 years from now I keel over a heart attack or a stroke or some kind of cancer? Maybe that's why everybody's so miserable, because we're all unhealthy out here. So it's time to do something about it, right? Now, what's interesting is I watched 2 videos today. Russell Brand had a video talking about now they're linking processed food to mental illness because it's screwing up the microbiome, your gut. And this is right before I discovered this author named Carolyn O'Byrne, which I don't know where she is now. She had a pretty strong social media presence. She was at the truck shows, and she helped me with my journey. But you ever think why are people kind of losing their minds? I believe wholeheartedly that a lot of it's because of the food we're eating. Depression, anger, the lack of common sense. It's because gut our gut bacteria is all jacked up because of the stuff that we're eating. If you're struggling with your health, with your weight, leave a comment below, and we'll work on this together. You're not alone. I've got some of the best friends I could ever hope for, and it's time to do something. I deserve it. My family deserves it. We all deserve it. We all deserve to improve on ourselves. Now, I don't like that part because I don't deserve anything. entitlement is a bad thing, and that's kind of that's how they sell you these products. Oh, you've had a rough day, you deserve a Coca-Cola. You know, you've had a rough week, you deserve to just kick back and order a pizza and have, you know, a 12-pack of beer. You deserve it, right? And so that's the only thing I'll kind of disagree. I don't deserve anything. You deserve better for yourself, but as far as deserving, it's I hate that word, because the only thing that that you're allowed to get is air and water. You got to figure the rest out. I may not put a gun to my head, but maybe I am slowly killing myself. There goes my monetization and lack of exercise. So, like I said, put comments below how you struggle and what can we do together to change this, to turn it all around. See you later. Thanks for watching. That was it. About half an hour later, I went and made a delivery and uploaded the video, and I was very pleasantly surprised with the results of the video. And so that's what happened with that. So that was the Struggle is Real video. So since then I've had, I've lost quite a bit of weight, but then I started the plateau and I made this video. So let's find this video here. Now this one I have not watched. This one I have not watched since I put it out. So this will be an honest, truly, like, wow, I can't believe I said that. Oh, and I'm going to warn you, you're going to see me do something you haven't seen in a while. Drive a truck. Isn't that cool logo thing? Text Curly made that for me.
So let's talk about...
All right, so this is not a live stream. Let it be known. This was a GoPro, okay? So there was no distracted driving whatsoever. That's not what this. And you can see all the stuff I have. There's my Iron Maiden thing that I flipped over. Of course, all my stuff from getting, this is on my way to go get my trailer. So as you can see, Red Chicken is probably over here somewhere. So, but this is, I had some thoughts and I recorded it. So, but there you go. So let's play here.
Something. I realized that I haven't really talked about the diet stuff in a while.
Now, this is after I've lost my weight. This is right around the time that I was probably about, I got down to 260. And judging by the trees here, 258 was my lowest, and that was around November. I forget what year. I did a 5K with the wife and daughter because I'd lost that weight. I promised him if I got down to 250, I would do that with him. I didn't quite get to 250, but 258 was close enough, and that's what I did. That video is probably on there. That'll probably have the right timeline, but it took me less than a year, or a little bit about a year, to lose the weight from 388 to 260. So I was probably about 280 at this point. So let me find when this video was made here. 3 years ago. So this is a year into my weight loss. So a year after the Struggle is Real video.
I imagine I have a couple of haters that probably thought that I've fallen off the wagon, or this, that, or the other, or whatever. But that's not the case.
No, that's not a bag of ice, CB. What that is there's these clamps that I use to hold the GoPro onto the dash. And so that's actually like a blue handled clamp That's the handle, and then the feather duster off of it makes it look weird. I know the GoPro gives kind of a weird look there. So
I've had a couple of treats. Not in the sugar sense, but kids and family and I went out for pizza yesterday. A couple weeks ago, I had some Mexican food. Broke the keto thing, I guess.
now when I started the weight loss, there was a point where I didn't want to call it keto because I hate labels, and so I just called it low carb, which is a label in and of itself. And then I became very dogmatic about it. Like I was really strict. And so after about a year after my weight loss, you start to get comfortable. You started to think, oh man, I've got this in the bag. And so I started to be less dogmatic. And I remember that night we went and there was a place called Cece's Pizza, and I felt so horrible afterwards. So, but that's what the family and kids wanted, was to hang out, and I didn't want to be a party pooper. And that's something I'm going to get into here in a little bit about some of the other struggles that I have today.
But a person told me, since I'm so good the rest of the time, that it really doesn't matter, and it hasn't.
That was not a lie, but that would soon be a lie. And now I've always said progress, not perfection. And that's kind of the point of this video here is it's about progress, not perfection.
It doesn't cause me to fall off the wagon. But here's the thing, man. If you fall off the wagon, and I see it all the time in the keto Facebook groups, whether it's trucking or non-trucking, get back up and get back on it. It's through failure that we succeed. Think about that.
That's something I say today, right? When it comes to trucking and everything. Wallace, my target weight, I want to be 200. I'm shooting for 225, but I believe 200 is where I was at, 200, 210 when I was in high school. But obviously, I want to build some muscle too as well. So 225, I think, would be probably the sweet spot. Just it's not about the weight; it's about how I feel.
But I found the key to success. Your relationship with food has to change.
This is true, and that's one of the most difficult things you will ever make to deal with, because we've been ingrained in food as a societal thing, right? It's a social thing. And I was talking to a friend of mine that does 7 days fast on the regular, and I think my longest fast has been 47 hours and change. And I broke it because of a social engagement. That's what we do as truck drivers. We like, hey man, I'm coming through Springfield. Let's have lunch. Or hey, I'm coming through your town. Let's have lunch. Let's have dinner. And so, yeah. So there you go.
That's what has to happen. All of us have vices, whether it be food,
you're welcome,
cigarettes,
Steven.
drugs, alcohol.
Notice I repeated the same thing on the first video. That's just, and this is a year later, so obviously it's in my head, because a lot of people that we know in our circle are struggling with those things.
You can be addicted to things like exercising or weightlifting.
I wish.
There's also things that are deemed healthy that you can be addicted to, and it'll affect you. It's all about what is your relationship with food when it comes to the diet stuff.
Now I'm driving in town. I still have my CB radio on. Just saying. So there, I had to adjust it. As I get closer to 44, I have to adjust it.
I've been successful at dieting. I've lost weight before. Hell, I lost 60 pounds one time doing an all fresh juice fast.
All right, so those of you who don't know the history, that was one of the most agonizing, stupidest things I've ever done in my entire life. I watched a show called Fat, Sick, and Nearly Dead, and at the time it made sense. And I did. I lost 60 pounds, but man, did I gain that back. Holy moly. But my truck looked like a fruit stand and exploded in it, and a fruit and vegetable stand. And I was just doing the juicing thing. I still have those juicers to this day. And I was intaking no fiber. The nutrients felt good, but what I realized, it wasn't the nutrients in the vegetables that were making me feel good. It was the ketones that I developed by fasting, by not, and my insulin going down. So, but the juice fast, I don't recommend that at all. And I gained all that weight back and then some.
Tell you what, that was a lot of work, especially in a truck. But I felt great. I felt amazing. Now looking back, I realized the reason why I felt amazing was not because of the vegetables, but it was because of not eating the processed stuff.
Right. So I just kind of mirrored what I just said, right? And again, I have not watched this video. The other video I did watch before the reaction, but this is purely reaction. And that's true. Whether you're paleo, keto, carnivore, what you're doing is you're avoiding most processed foods. And that's where the true evil magic is.
And through this journey, I've realized that I had to change my relationship with food altogether because I gained all that weight back and then some. Those of you who know me for the last 10 years, you've seen how much weight I've gained and what I used to look like.
Yeah, go to the Snorelord OG and then look up my earliest videos. You'll see what I used to look like. Beardless. I was such a youngster.
Especially those of you who knew me in high school. So what changed? Well, at first I blamed it on the lack of exercise. We have a very sedentary job. And that's a part of it, don't get me wrong, it's a big part of it. But I can pinpoint when I started to gain weight. And it coincided when I stopped riding my bike as much as I used to. Started driving everywhere.
So back in the late 80s, I was a BMXer. I was a BMX freestyler. I lived, eat, and breathe BMX bikes. I was hardcore. That's all I lived for. And then that hobby turned into music. And right around the same time that I stopped riding as much, that's when I had access to a lot of convenience store foods because I had a job, I had money. So instead of bringing my lunch from school or from home for school, I would just go to the store and buy a bag of Doritos and Twinkies and a sandwich, and that was my lunch. I didn't have to pay any bills other than my car insurance, so why not? And so it was that abundance of money and not realizing just how bad that food was, thinking that I was just going to burn it because I was a bike rider.
But I was also had the freedom and the money to eat what I wanted. It was no longer within the limited confines of what my parents fed me. My dad ate pretty healthy. My dad was overweight in his 20s. And he turned it all around. And what he did.
All right, so I'm gonna change something of that. My dad did cook good meals, and this is before I did research on seed oils. So that was probably the worst thing that my dad did was he fried things in canola oil and vegetable oil and corn oil, which is like that's almost worse than sugar.
Did was he changed his relationship with food. He despised truck stop food. He despised fast food restaurants. And he wasn't much for cake unless he baked it himself. He wasn't much for fried foods unless he did it himself. It's just like running a business. You learn through your failures. Okay, what caused you to fall off the wagon? What caused you to break your fast, or what caused you to go back to your old habits? What caused that? Find the root of that.
The best substitute, and I'll get to the other comments too. Olive oil, coconut oil, butter, and true beef tallow. Not what they call lard in the store, but true beef tallow. Those and bacon grease. Those are your best. And avocado oil. No canola, no sunflower, no corn, no vegetable quote unquote oil, no peanut oil, but olive oil, butter, ghee, GHEE, and butter are all fine. You don't have to refrigerate butter, by the way. Just know that. So
there's your success. Keto works for me because I can do it easily on the road. But also, it allowed me to stop eating just long enough to realize what kind of relationship I had with food.
So, Little Viking coach, LVC, he was kind of a true coach when it comes to ketogenic, carnivore, low carb, and fasting. And he's the one that inspired me to start doing intermittent fasting. And that's, we used to do the fasting Fridays, and that's when I've kind of learned where my triggers were. In other words, sitting at a dock too long, I like to eat. If I'm stressed out about loads, or if I've had a rough day, talking to the brokers, which is what caused my recent weight gain, or triggered, I guess. That would trigger. Our cortisol levels are all jacked up. That will also do it. You don't sleep right. That's another thing that will happen. But let me address this comment. So quit beating yourself up and believe and fast, and you will attain it. I know, because I've gotten there. I feel like quit beating yourself. I'm not beating myself up. I'm going over some past things because I want to tell everybody about my current struggles, which I've started to nip that in the bud. Ever since Mats of 2023, when I got home, I started really getting hardcore about the fasting. I'm already down 25 pounds. My longest fast was 2 days, not by choice, but because I couldn't hold anything down. Gastro parents can't come to find out. Thanks, Steve. You got me into the research to check this keto stuff out, down from 240 to 230 so far. Been yo-yo for a while, so I'm doing a hybrid lemonade diet for a few days to see what happens. Wallace says, when you fast for 3 days, your taste will change and your desires for things will die. Embrace the hunger pains. They are your friend. Absolutely, Wallace. You are 100% correct. And that's part of changing the relationship with food. And you don't realize just how much it has a hold of you until you go fast, right? And so far, my longest fast has been 47 hours. Now, I was attempting a 36, but I didn't quite make it. But I did do a 28-hour fast. I just got off one of those. I ate at 2:00 on Sunday, had Chinese buffet with the daughter, and then that ended at about 2:00, and I literally just had a meal about an hour or so ago. So, and it was all meat and eggs. That's all it was, with a little bit of mustard. What are the best? Okay, we already talked about that. Besides bacon grease, olive oil, butter, and ghee. Real lard. Make sure it doesn't have hydrogenated stuff in it. Yep, keep it all natural, right? I'm late. What do you drive? Are you driving? No, I'm not driving right now. This is a video from 3 years ago. Never mind, I'm done. I say it to myself all the time. It's all right. It's all right. You just got here. So let's continue.
That's the big part. Extra bouncing, some bobtailing. Going to go get my trailer.
Like you guys care about that.
You You find the root of what makes you eat what you eat. Now, if you're a social eater and you like having stuff at holidays, there's nothing wrong with that. I've done it. I've had a couple of dinner rolls at holidays. And, you know, yesterday was a social event when we went and got pizza. But you know what? My relationship, my mental attitude towards that pizza, that's what was different. I had 4 slices, 4 small slices. The rest of it was salad and chicken soup without the noodles. And I felt like I wanted to throw up because I had eaten too much. I hadn't eaten like that in a long time.
I said that earlier.
Normally in that restaurant, that establishment, I would have eaten like 4 or 5 plates.
True.
Of just nothing but pizza.
I could tear apart a pizza buffet pretty good.
And it was an eye-opening experience, because you hear about people that have a cheat day and then they kind of go off the rails. If you're the kind of person that hasn't changed your attitude about food, it's a lot easier. It's a lot easier to go off the rails if you have a cheat day. And I knew that about myself. So for the first year, I didn't have cheat days. Not one. Not even a little bit. Because I knew I needed to change things in my head. And that's been the key to my success so far. And last night was a test of my strength. It was a test of, can I do this without falling off the wagon? Absolutely. Because after that meal, I did not feel good. And I know a lot of people look up to me, look to me for inspiration.
Now, I cringe when I hear that. I don't think people look up to me. I know that I inspired at least 3 people to lose weight. A guy named Charles, he told me he lost 100 pounds. This story in life, he lost quite a bit of weight. I helped him out. And there's somebody else I can't remember. And I think Pigtail recently, after 2 years of hammering on him, he's finally embraced the lifestyle and he's lost some weight. But beyond that, you know, it's I don't put myself on no pedestal. Trust me, I don't. And so I just want to put that out there that I don't. I'm just me.
And I'm here to tell you that it's okay. It's okay if you break your fast a little bit early. It's okay if you have a potato every now and then. You know, it's not about perfection. It's about improvement.
Wow.
Tell you what, when it comes to
I'm
running
redundant.
the trucking business, you can do everything perfect by the book, right? And then a breakdown will take you out. Even though you got money saved, even though you get your taxes done on time, even though you're running the right loads in the right lanes and you're doing everything absolutely correct, that one breakdown can take you out. What do? You get back up and you do it again. Perfection is not needed in what I'm doing. So if you're not perfect, don't worry about it. But I do know myself. You see, that's the thing. You got to look inside yourself. Find the truth. Find what drives you. For me, it was a combination of fear and just sick of being tired. Sick of being sick and tired. Sick of wearing things out faster because I was too big for them. You know, I still got to replace the seat.
Yeah, that was
sick of.
That was I think that final bill on that seat was like $1,600. That's funny. I had a friend of mine that he trained a guy that was like really, really heavy set, and he ended up having to get a new seat after he was done training him. But I mean, it's part of it. Wallace says, "See, you are wrong about thinking others are not inspired." No, I know that people are inspired by me. I just don't want to think that. I don't want people to think that I think better about myself because of that. Because that's not the goal. I mean, no, that's not 100% true. The goal is to inspire people, but it's I'm fine if I don't, because and this is where the new struggle will come in. I'll talk more about that here, because this video is going to go in a direction that you guys probably don't expect.
Falling asleep after every meal. I was sick of
this one we're
not
on,
being able
not
to hold
the
a
one we're watching.
conversation without grogging off. I was sick of a lot of things. And ever since I changed my attitude towards food, things have been a lot better, by far. And that's the key. I can count on one hand how many times I've cheated in the last year. But you have to be careful.
So basically what I'm saying here is I became really dogmatic to the point that, like, my family couldn't stand to be around me, and people treated me like I was a minister coming into a strip bar. I mean, people were like, "Oh no, Steve's here, the car police is here," and that really, there's a few things that affect me, and that's one of them. So yeah, so it just that's yeah.
Because if you're it's just like the scale. If you're the kind of person that the number's the only motivation, well, anytime that number's not right, it's going to be disheartening. It's going to be easier to give up. But if you gauge it by how you feel, then it doesn't matter what the scale says. And
that's true. Herb says, I watched your OG channel and fasted 36 hours last month. You helped more people than you know it. I may have lost 15 pounds. Awesome, Herb. I love hearing that. Because the more people that can improve their lives and get off these medications and not be dependent on these pharmaceutical companies, and you don't give in to the man, that's oh man, that's my mission. Because I think you want to change the world, you got to start with yourself. It's a hate breed song, and I think that if everybody just could do that for themselves, man, it would be a completely different place right now. Thank you, Herb. I appreciate that. Good on you, man. 15 pounds. That's got to feel good.
why I haven't weighed in lately. I'm down to I'm at 268 to 265, depending on how much water I've drank that day.
Okay, there you go.
That's about where I'm at. And I want to be lower. Another 40 pounds lower, I'll be absolutely ecstatic. But it's not about the number. I mean, I can get there easily if I go on a 9-day fast. No big deal. But I'm not going to do that.
I hate that. I didn't. Number one, I did not have the skill set. I think the most I fasted was 25 hours at that point, and that was only like once every week or every other week. And I'd kind of backed off the intermittent fasting a little bit. Haven't done the research or have the skill set to even do a 9-day fast. So that no big deal. That's false. So Steve, shut up. But there you go.
Because that's unrealistic. That doesn't change. If I ever go back. But I don't see myself going back to my old habits ever again, because I know how they almost destroyed me. Destroyed my life, destroyed relationships, destroyed how I think about the world and the things in it. And that's what keeps me motivated. Think about an alcoholic. They have to change their relationship with alcohol. That way you don't even want it. And that's kind of how I feel. I don't even want that kind of food. The kind of food that's more harmful to me.
All right, so before I became a truck driver, I struggled. I was never a full-blown alcoholic, but I was heading there. I was on that bus, but I got off at the first stop. So I'm not talking out of my butt on that when I mention alcohol and compare it to.
So I guess what I'm trying to say is, if you're falling down, don't give up. Get back up. Brush yourself off. We don't expect perfection. Ignore the keto police. Ignore the diet snobs. Ignore the vegans and their attitude.
Definitely ignore vegans. But and so what I was talking about is that there are people that, like, especially on Facebook, like there's a couple of carnivore groups I was a part of, and they are extremely dogmatic. I mean, they're like, and then there's a really dogmatic carnivore diet called the lion diet, and where you just beef, water, and salt. That's all you're eating, and a lot of miracles have been based around that diet. But that's kind of what I was getting at. You have to be kind of your own keto police, and that's where the fasting kind of kicks in. It's like, okay, if you're at your kid's 10th birthday and everybody's having birthday cake, well, it's okay to have a piece. But the problem is that it's only okay if you know it won't trigger you to go into bad habits, because there's so many people that I know that went keto and then they allowed their cheats. And the next thing you know, a year later they've gained half their weight back, and I was heading down that path as of recently as well. And it was a slower process because I'm still avoiding a lot of sugars, but there's you got to figure out what works, and there's so it's a gauge, right? So that's kind of where I was going with that, and what I've learned since then.
More people that are naysayers, and most people that are naysayers, it's because of their own weaknesses. I know that for a fact.
True.
You got to be honest with yourself. And until you're honest with yourself, it's hard to make changes. You know? So, that being said, just a quick video, done with the GoPro. If you look to me for inspiration, it's okay. It's okay to screw up. You know, I had a good time with my family having that pizza. And you know what? I didn't gorge myself. And still ate fairly healthy. So, that being said, leave in the comments, you know, something about how you've fallen down and gotten back up. Because that's the stories people want to hear. That's, you know, you can listen to successful people all day long, but the real successful ones will tell you that they've failed several times. They've fallen down several times. You know, failure's in the vocabulary a lot these days because of YouTubers dropping off the spot market, giving up their trucks and everything else. But
wait a minute. You mean there were struggles in the spot market back then too? This is before COVID, by the way. This is 3 years ago.
I don't know. I consider a failure a learning experience myself. That's how you learn. It's through struggle that you learn. And if you're not struggling, maybe you're not pushing yourself enough. And if you fall down, now you're starting to push yourself. Get back up, push yourself some more. That being said, thanks for watching. Peace.
All right, so that's the struggles real part 2. And we're going to call this The Struggle is Real 2023. So, let me Cool Truckin' says, of course, I've said it before. I've lost 70 pounds. How? Shrink portions, only eat between noon and 8, and then take both hands, grab the table, and push. It's okay to skip a meal or two. But it's also what you eat, right? Calorie restriction can only go so far. I know people that will eat 3,000 calories a day of steak and meat and bacon and still lose 100 pounds. I was that guy. It's all about insulin resistance. And so, and I'm not a doctor. I'm not a scientist. All I know is where I've seen results from myself and where I've seen results from my friend, and where I have failed and where I have succeeded. Now, here's where the rest of the video continues. Okay. So this video was 3 years ago. So obviously 2020, rates were starting to climb up. And I don't think the shutdowns had really started yet. And what I did was, yeah, the rates were starting to come down. Yeah, because people were, because I mentioned in there, people were losing their trucks. People were getting off the spot market. And it's something that I've just learned to live with. I know that it happens. Just like what's happening today in the spot market is no different than what happened 3 years ago. Okay. Are the circumstances different? Absolutely. But what had happened, a lot of things happened at home that caused a lot of stress. My mom was getting ripped off by these, people in India. We were having to take care of her more, and as it progressed into COVID, it got worse. And then so we were dealing with that. And then, then the George Floyd thing happened where, you turn on your computer and there's just riots after riots and protests after protests, and you have these videos of people just going around trucks. And those of you that were alive in the 90s know that, remember Reginald Denny, that whole deal with the truck driver being pulled out and bricks being thrown at his head, and that's going through our head. So I would wake up at home, and I was living in perpetual Saturday and being home for like a week at a time, letting the internet tell me about how horrible everything is. And what that was doing, it was jacking up the cortisol. And then I thought, you know what? I've done so good on my diet. I've done so well. It's okay to have these keto cheats, the keto friendly sweeteners, the keto friendly cakes, the keto friendly fat bombs or whatever. Slim fast keto this and what I've learned since then is the vegetable oils that they put in those things are no better for you than the thing that it's trying to replace. And so I fell for that keto label, which is why I hate labels. So if I see a package that says keto friendly or paleo friendly, the first thing I do is look at the ingredients. And give you a perfect example, you can sit there and have a bag of marshmallows and call it fat free. Well, with what I know about nutrition now, that's absolutely absurd. It's not fat that's the enemy. It's the sugar. Of course they can call it fat free, but we've been indoctrinated in our heads that fat is the enemy. And when you look at the natural progression of life, how many times you've seen a lion or a tiger die of a heart attack or be overweight? Any animal that's not, their diet is not affected by human intervention, none of them are overweight. Even we have to purposely make cows overweight so they can yield more meat, right? So who's to say that's not happening with us? Look at your pets, and we'll talk more about that later. But I mean, I was having this great conversation with my daughter yesterday, and when you look at pets, look at your animals. My dog has heart issues. I have to buy him special food and special medicine to keep him alive. And he's eating the same dog food that everybody else was at that time. He's only eating twice a day. So he's not overeating. He gets some exercise. But what you got to realize, if you eat the wrong things, it's being overweight is not a caloric imbalance, it's a hormonal imbalance. Trust me on this. Because if everything's balanced out, you're not going to want 4,000 calories. If you're eating the right foods, you don't need, 4 meals a day. Like going 24 to 28 hours is nothing for me when I eat the right things. And so I fell for the whole keto label, like the keto friendly bread. It's not. The keto friendly snacks, they're not. And if you truly want to get off the sugar stuff, you have to basically quit cold turkey. That's just me, but only because the ingredients in these like keto friendly sugar treats are no better. They're still made in a lab, just like the stuff you're trying to substitute. So make cows overweight. I want you to go and look at pictures of cows from 40 years ago, and what do they look like now as you go down the road? And you can't tell me that cows are heavier now than they used to be. So now deer is a ruminant animal. They're not fat. I mean, they're big. I slaughtered 2 of them one year. But they're not like, but they could still run, right? Just like chickens. Chickens aren't natural anymore. They're fed all this crap. Ruminant animals is your best bet because it filters a lot of the bad crap that they're fed. That's why grass finish is best. But you know what? Dr. Ken Berry and Dr. Sean Baker, they tell you that, you know what? Even processed meat is better than sugar stuff. So Sharon Eddy says, thank you for your time. Butch says it's genetic. You get docked if they have too much fat. That may be true, but it just depends, in my opinion, right? So, but I allowed myself these keto treats, and I wasn't doing the intermittent fasting anymore. And then suddenly I gained 41 pounds back from my lowest weight of 260 or 258. And so at Matt's Mid America Truck Show 2023, when I got home, I officially weighed 300 pounds. And I'm down to 275. And it's been through becoming more dogmatic, and it's been through, but not to the point that my family's miserable around me like they were before. But also the fasting. I read a good book. Let me get this book up here. This book, something I downloaded on Audible during my subscription. This changed my life. Again, it got me on track. And it'll save you money. I know that times are tough right now. And and if the truck stops won't give you something good to eat, then don't eat. You do it right, you'll feel good about yourself. So, just I will put the I'll put the link in the chat here for that book. I highly recommend it. I was so impressed with the book that I bought the physical book. So, but anyways, every morning, if you're new to my channel, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, I go live at about 7 a.m. I talk about spot market. We get on the 123 low board and sometimes the DAT board. I go over what rates are doing, what lanes are doing. If you're an owner operator that self dispatches, that's it's kind of like my little news program, my weather report kind of a deal. And in the wintertime, I will go over like real weather. But I also am known for this health space because I did lose all that weight. I don't drive hardly at all now. And it's actually been more of a struggle to stay on track at home than it is on the road. And as a guy that's trained drivers, I used to be a company trainer. I would watch these guys gain their first 20 pounds in their first couple of months. And it wasn't the caloric, it wasn't the fact they were sitting. That was a part of it, but the other big part of it was because now they're eating processed food. Every training I've had an issue where we had to pull over a bunch of times because their stomach wasn't agreeing with what they've been eating. And so I made it a point. I had a fridge in the truck, but I also had a secondary cooler in the truck, so they could like buy healthier stuff and have it refrigerated, because I knew that struggle was definitely real for people that aren't used to the convenience store food, and which is, face it, that's what truck stops are now. Is just convenience stores with truck parking. So, but there you go. So that's where we're at, right? So I want to do a reaction video because I'm back on track. The keto friendly stuff is not keto friendly. If you don't want to put a label to it, don't. It's okay to not be so dogmatic that you make yourself miserable, but just recognize your triggers, recognize your weaknesses, and recognize your strengths, and you'll get through it. There are people in the chat, there are people, personal friends of mine, and leave in the comments if my videos, past, present, or future, have helped you make better choices. I would really like to see that. And if I'm full of it, tell me that too. But I do know that when I was at Matt's, my belt was being tight because I do carry, and that was painful. I'd like to have no gut protruding in my side, right? And I remember I hardly got any sleep the whole trip because I was just eating so much, and eating all the I held back a little bit, but I did splurge. I did drink, not to some ridiculous drunkenness, but since then I have not drank any alcohol, and I don't have any intention to do so in the near future. Because the seed oils, it's not just the sugar, it's the seed oils. It's your cortisol levels being all jacked up. It's you don't sleep right, you don't eat right. If you're only getting 4 or 5 hours of sleep, that becomes a problem after time. So if you're young watching this video, just know that it's going to catch up to you. You could be the kind of person that can eat whatever you want, and you don't gain a pound and you feel good, but then all of a sudden it happens all at once. I got a guitar player, a friend of mine, that used to play shows without a shirt on. Ladies loved it. I saw him recently at a show and I was like, holy moly, dude, are you okay? And it's just and they want you to believe that it's old age, and it's not. It's what we're consuming. There's plenty of YouTube videos that will talk about that, and it's not just my imagination. It's not some conspiracy theory. Look around, go to a public place, go to a concert, go to a truck show, go to a restaurant, and what do you see? And it's just how it is, man. And you got to be aware of that, and awareness is key. Chickens are carnivore. We always feed them mice, bugs. Put a bone in the chicken pen. The chickens will get calcium, make stronger shells. Yep. Just want to say hello, Killians. Me and the wife are on Lake Notley in Blairsville, Georgia for a vacation. Just want to say hello, Hubble as well. Enjoy your vacation, Killian. It's the moments, right? It's the moments that matter. I'm struggling with temptation with catering so much food that's bad for me. I can imagine, and I definitely feel you on that, Jason. I really do. And so there's got to be a shift, and that's where the fasting kind of kicks in because next thing you know, you can do alternate day fasting and eat kind of what you want, and you won't eat as much, and you're still going to feel better. So we can kind of go over that sometime. Uh, Don disagrees on the sleep part. Down 2 pant sizes in 1 month by going on your recommendations. My name is Nobody. Still working through the food temptations. And see, here's my thing with food temptation, right? If you, not you, my name is Nobody, but if a person in general, if you as a person, and this hopefully this will blow your mind a little bit. If there's something in your life that you're doing that you do not have control over, that should be a red flag that something is wrong. Every day I hear, well, man, I can't give up my Diet Coke, or I hear I can't give up bread. Bread's so hard. I can get rid of the sugar, but bread is so hard. Why is that? Why? And it's not your mental strength. That's a part of it, but this stuff it's made to be addictive. That should anger you. You guys remember the movie? Have you ever seen the movie Ray with what's his name, Jamie Foxx? Which I believe he's sick right now. And there's a scene where he's playing Ray, you know, blues guy, and Ray Charles. Yeah, my wife's yelling at me in the room. And there's a scene where he's in the bed and he's detoxing from the heroin. That's literally that should make you angry that food is making you do that. And that just the awareness of that, like what causes that, when you realize that temptation is you not being weak, it's that the strength of that addiction. So just know that. And the fact that you're down 2 pant sizes, man, that makes me happy. And people are like, well, that first 15 pounds is just water weight. So what? Do you want to carry 15 of these water bottles all the time? No. Weight is weight. It's about how you feel. What sucks is one of my splurges is Chinese buffet, and now I don't get crazy, but I still probably eat a few things that I shouldn't. Of course, the seed oils and the MSG and all that are bad. But the next day, if I'm fasting, which is what today was, man, I'm going to the bathroom like every 5 minutes. I'm like, man, if I was driving, I'd be in trouble right now. I'd be pulling over every 5 miles. And because there's so much water retention, there's so much inflammation. I used to have a lot of knee problems, almost gone. My ankle that I broke, not as painful. I could stand in one place. Last couple of concerts I went to, there's literally nowhere to sit. I've had to stand for 3 or 4 hours. Did it hurt a little bit? Yeah, absolutely. Even the most healthiest people are like, yeah, this kind of sucks. They need chairs. But for the most part, that 288 pound or 388 pound picture I had up there, which I'll put that picture back up. This guy here, it hurt to lay down. It hurt to sit. It hurt to walk. When I lost all my weight, my daughter said, "Dad, it's like I've got my dad back." And that was very touching to me. And don't give another dime to these pharmaceutical companies. Don't give them another dime. I know people that will literally like we saw this. I was having breakfast somewhere, and this couple, they were morbidly obese, and they were talking to us about, because they had overheard me say something about anti-bread or whatever, and they're sitting there, and they got biscuits and gravy in front of them and pancakes, and they're sitting there checking their blood sugars to see when they can eat. That's like drug addict level right there. Like like how about you calm yourself down? And I don't see them as weak people. I don't. I see them as people struggling with the same addictions that I have. Notice I didn't say had, have. And there you go. TJ says in mid-May, our weekly weakness has been carne asada, bacon wrapped shrimp with a side of rice and beans. After 6-3, we stopped the rice and beans. Yeah, I mean, you figure out what works, right? That's the great thing about carnivore, right? TJ, you did the carnivore thing. Is it's an elimination diet. Then when you reintroduce certain foods, you're like, holy crap, I feel bad. My knee pain's back. I feel like I have a cold. I'm congested. And it's just you just got to go by how you feel. But you're gonna feel bad before you feel better because the keto flu and all that. But I'm telling you, as a person that's fasted 47 hours, it's amazing. It's literally amazing how you feel, and it literally it resets the body, and it changes your perspective on things, and you realize that for the last 50, 60, 70 years we've been lied to, and the statistics prove it. The low fat grain craze started at the same time our obesity went up. There's a whole video that Jason Fung's done about the roots of obesity. It's a hormonal imbalance. So, and the two videos that I played for you tonight, that's literally just me being human, showing you that we're all human. We all have the same struggles, and we all have the same enemy. Mine was it bringing back old cravings. Thank goodness I stood fast. There you go. Figure out what triggers and then avoid it. One of my favorite triggers when I've had a crappy week dealing with brokers and drivers. Not that I have bad relationships with my drivers, but they're struggling as well. And when I see a lot of pain, a lot of misery, and people going out of business, it brings a certain stress level to me. And there's been many times where I'm like, screw it, let's have pizza and beer tonight. And I've done that. 41 pounds later, I'm like, what am I doing here? I need to change this now before it gets worse. So, anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed, the video. The Struggle is Real Part 3, 2023. Look for some members only content where I really get deeper into the struggle. But right now we're on track. I just got off a 28-hour fast. And that's I'll show you the guys. I use this app called Zero. It's got a lot of paid up stuff, but I don't pay for it. And yeah, 28 hours there. There you go. And then when you let's go back to the All the green is where I accomplished my. I don't know if that's going to kick in that green screen. It's not showing it. Anyways, I stopped sharing this on Facebook because it's worried my mom because she's still old school on a lot of the facts that are out there. So, anyways, guys, thanks for watching. I appreciate you. We'll see you Wednesday morning. So make sure you share this out. Um, I appreciate everybody that supports the channel. And, you know, there you go. So, with that being said, thanks for watching. Strength for today, hope for tomorrow. Aggression turns the screw, and see if I can find this, my normal, there it is. Okay. Bang your head, man. Let's go. Peace.